Shuklambaradharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannawadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye. Om. Dear friends, we know that the battle of Mahabharata, it took place for about 18 days. For the first 10 days, Bhishma was fighting and nobody was able to beat him because Bhishma is somebody who is invincible. Then Pandavas themselves, they go and seek some plan, some way of defeating him. So he gives a plan and Bhishma accordingly falls. And that was a shocking news for Dhritarashtra. And Dhritarashtra then, he asked Sanjaya. And I was telling you, Sanjaya is like a sort of war correspondent. So Sanjaya was also blessed with some Divya Drushti. Sage Vyasa had given him Divya Drushti. He was able to see what was all happening in the battle scene. And so Sanjaya is now narrating. So that is what is the overall context. And this Bhagavad Gita I was telling you, it is having 18 chapters. Today we are going to start this chapter number 1. And I was telling you that all the 18 chapters, they have this title, Yoga, 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 Yoga. It doesn't mean that there are 18 types of yoga. We are aware of what is called Patanjali Yoga. Patanjali Yoga means, of course, what we are aware of is only some bodily movements, bodily contortions. You twist the body this way, that way, and then you make it an asana. That is only one part of it. In fact, Patanjali Yoga Sutra is a big Shastra. It is a Shastra about how to control the mind, how to remove all the negative emotions within a man's personality, and how to cultivate positive emotions, and how to attain what is called, what Patanjali calls the Samadhi, Yoga Samadhi. So that is the meaning of yoga at that place. There, the etymological meaning of the word yoga is yuja samadhau. That is, in order to attain a samadhi. Samadhi is to fix the mind in a particular place. Samyak adhiyate manaha iti samadhi. That is, a mind is properly fixed in a particular place and mind doesn't deviate from that. So that is what is a samadhi. But here, this yoga, there is a different etymology for this. Yuji yoge, that is to be associated here. So here in this first chapter, Arjuna Vishada Yoga it is called. That is, Arjuna is having what is called Vishada. Vishada means he gets into a sort of despondent mood. To use a modern word, modern word is depression. Most of the people were very familiar with the depression. So the old word for that is Vishada and it is translated as despondency. That is, a person gets into a total moral dilemma, he doesn't know what exactly to do and then he is in a state of despair. So that is that Vishada. And how can this Vishada be a sort of yoga? Because when a person is depressed, when he is in such despondent state, then he either goes to a guru. If he is an Indian, he goes to a guru. If he is a Westerner, he will go to a psychiatrist. So in Western society, if a person is depressed, he will immediately go to a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist will analyze the problem. He will tell him how to analyze his own situation. That is called mindfulness meditation. And he will say, okay, it is like this, you are like this, you are like that. So, but here, Krishna is the Guru. Guru is giving a broader picture. He is not behaving like a psychologist. He is giving a broader picture of what is dharma, what is truth, what is human life. So if you understand the human life in a very large context, then you will see how little you are and how you are just an instrument in the hand of the divine. Every human being is a small instrument in the hand of the divine and you have to do that your job or your task as an instrument of the divine or the cosmic mind. So that is what Krishna is going to say. So Arjuna Vishada Yoga, this Vishada is going to lead to enlightenment. So Vishada is one preliminary step to enlightenment. So that is how this chapter has to be understood. So yoga does not mean this is something to do with Patanjali Yoga, etc. Patanjali Yoga, as I was saying, even in that Patanjali Yoga, this asanas which I am talking about, there is only one sutra in the entire text of Patanjali Yoga, Sthira Sukham Asanam. There is only one sutra. Basing on that, of course, lot many asanas have come into practice. And they all have a lot of positive effect on the body. Because consciously, if you are doing something, a conscious habit controls the unconscious mind or influences the unconscious mind. That is a basic psychological principle on which this yoga, Patanjali Yoga works. So from that point of view, all these practices like meditation like pranayama, like all these asanas which we do, all these things help in controlling the mind. That is very, very essential. So that is a totally different subject. We are now only talking about what is called association with a particular frame of mind. So Arjuna is in a despondent frame of mind. That is Arjuna Vishada Yoga. So now I will read the first shloka, and maybe I will tell you my approach. My approach is basically I will help you to read the entire text, because many of us, we don't have an opportunity to read the entire text. We don't have an opportunity, and we don't have a proper teacher maybe. And strictly speaking, the way we have to read is to go to a traditional guru and read the entire Bhashyam. Bhashyam is, there is a commentary. There are commentaries written in Sanskrit. They are very authentic. And if you read along with the commentary under the guidance of a guru, that is the most standard thing. I am not going to do that. I have only brought one English, that is text with some English, small English, just an English translation. So I will be just saying what I have learned from my gurus, from the Bhashyam. So I will not read out the entire Bhashyam, but I will read the shloka, because at least the shloka we have to read. So I will just read the shloka. Slightly, whatever explanation is needed, I will explain, and we'll go ahead like that, so that you can also listen to all the 700 shlokas which are there in this text. So the first shloka reads like this. Dhritarashtra Uvacha. This adhyaya starts like Dhritarashtra Uvacha. Dhritarashtra told like this. We know who is Dhritarashtra. So he says, Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kimakurvata Sanjaya. So that is what he says. What does it mean? Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre. There is a place called Kurukshetra. Of course, even now it is there in Haryana. In Haryana, if you see, they have identified some place which is said to be the battlefield. And they have also selected a place where they say, yes, it is here that Krishna taught Geeta to Arjuna. There is a huge picture of Krishna, Arjuna, all those things, they are there. So in Haryana, that Kurukshetra is now a big town. Maybe in olden days, probably it was an open ground. Because for all the battles, they need an open ground. So it must have been a huge open ground. So Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre. Kurukshetra was the place where some old kings, they had performed several yajnas. They had performed several austerities, and they have attained a lot of punya. So that is the reason it was called Dharmakshetra, where dharma is going to prevail. Dharma would prevail, dharma would win. So that is actually the meaning of Kurukshetra. That is actually the implication, or rather the dhvani. Dhvani means, suppose you are reading something. A particular character says something, but there is a sort of overtone. The reader gets a separate meaning from what actually the speaker is saying. The speaker may be saying something, but the reader is able to get a broader meaning. So that is called an overtone. So when Dhritarashtra is asking Dharmakshetre Kurukshetre, here the commentators have said Dhritarashtra is actually saying that this is a Dharmakshetra where dharma is going to win. So dharma, of course, what is dharma? I have not talked about it. Dharma, in fact, it is a very big theme. Very, very, very briefly I can explain. That is, dharma means that which holds the society from breaking. That is called dharma. The etymological meaning of the word dharma is Dharanat dharma uchyate. Dharanat dhru. The root is dhru. In Sanskrit, of course, not only in Sanskrit, but in many languages, several words they have got some roots, particularly the Indo-European languages, that is Greek, Latin, etc. All those words, they do have certain roots. So similarly, dharma is derived from a word called dhru. Dhru means to hold, to bear, to sustain, to support. So that is the meaning of dharma. That which supports the society, that which holds the society from falling apart. So that is what is dharma. So tentatively, let us be happy with this definition. That is, there are two levels. That is, one is a sort of enforceable thing, which we call law. Suppose there is a state, there is a government, there is a country or a government. In that government, they do enact a particular law, which is enforced. So that is again, which is keeping the society together. It is enforcing certain social norms or rules. But there are many other things which are unenforceable. For example, you have to respect elders, you have to respect your parents, you have to respect the teachers, or you have to be charitable, you have to give some donation, you have to do some good deeds. There is no punishment for not doing good deeds. There is a punishment for doing bad deeds, but there is no punishment for not doing good deeds. But if you do good deeds, that is part of dharma. You are attaining some positive merit, which is called punya. So these are the things which are told in order to have some social harmony. Not only have to foster, to improve, to grow social harmony. So there is a harmonious growth of the society if everyone performs his dharma. A son has got his duty toward his father. A father has got his duty towards the son. A wife has a duty to her husband. And the husband has got a duty to the wife. So all these duties, in fact, our society, strictly speaking, it is a duty-bound society. In our dharma, there is more talk about our own duties than our rights. Now, of course, the constitution says, yeah, you have this right, that right, etc. Now we are fighting for our rights. But in olden days, our Sanatana Dharma talks only about duties. If you are taking care of, if you are doing your duties, your rights are taken care of. If every man does his duty, naturally your rights are taken care of. That is the meaning of the sentence, Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitaha. Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitaha means Dharma will protect you if it is protected. It appears rather strange. How is it you are protecting Dharma and Dharma is going to protect you? The meaning is that if every man does his job well, does his duty well, naturally his rights are automatically protected. So anyway, let us be content with this small definition of Dharma and we will go ahead. So this place is called Dharma Kshetra. And for the word Kshetra also, it is also significant because certain words are significant. Kshetra means a field. And what do we see in a field? You sow a seed and whatever seed you sow, the same tree will come up. If you sow some mango seed, the mango tree will come up. Or if you sow some other poisonous seed, the poisonous thing will come up. Poisonous tree will come up. So Kshetra is a place which gives phalam according to your action, according to your karma. Karma phala. Whatever karma you do, the karma phalam is coming. So that is what is Dharma Kshetra. This is a place where dharma is going to be revived, dharma is going to win. Of course, now we are going to see that between these Pandavas and the Kauravas, naturally Pandavas are going to win and naturally dharma is going to prevail. So that is again a sort of dhvani or an overtone in this particular word called Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre. Then Dhritarashtra is asking, Samaveta Yuyutsavaha Mamakah Pandavaschaiva Mamakah, my people. And also Pandavas. What did they do, O Sanjaya? He says. So even in the question he says, yes, Pandavas, Kauravas are my people. And Pandavas are slightly separate. He is not treating Pandavas as his own sons, though he is aware that they are his own brothers' sons and they have to be treated like sons and their kingdom has been snatched by his own sons. So Dhritarashtra is a man who is not bothered about that. So here we are seeing this Dhritarashtra. In fact, Dhritarashtra also the commentators have said, Dhritarashtra. Rashtra means what? Rashtra means a particular state, let us say a kingdom. But here the kingdom is his own body-mind complex, his own wealth, his own kingdom, etc. Dhrutam Rashtram Yena. That is, a particular, he is possessive about whatever he has. And he is very, very possessive about his own son. He is very fond of his son. Whatever mistakes his son does, he supports. Nowadays we call it sunstroke. So somewhat like a sunstroke, this Dhritarashtra is a man who is having a sunstroke. And he is also a blind person. Not only literally blind, not only physically blind, but metaphorically blind. He is blind to all the bad deeds of his son. So metaphorically also he is a blind person. So that is the person who is asking the question in this Bhagavad Gita. So from now, the reply starts. Dhritarashtra, he just appears, asks one question, and his role is over in this whole Bhagavad Gita. Now Sanjaya is the narrator. Sanjaya is the narrator. He is going to say what all transpired. And if we see the entire Gita, there are three people who have heard Gita. That is, number one, Arjuna, who directly heard from Lord Krishna. And Sanjaya, who had that divine vision, that Divya Drushti, and he was able to see and listen what all was happening. And the narration, the immediate narration is to Dhritarashtra. The third person to listen is Dhritarashtra. So Arjuna, the very word Arjuna means white. The meaning of Arjuna is white. Of course, there are several meanings given, but one meaning is white, straightforward, very arjavam, that is straightforward, rujuswabhavi. So that is the meaning of Arjuna. And Dhritarashtra is a man who is highly possessive, who is highly supportive of his own bad son. So Dhritarashtra is one person, the bad guy, though the message is very clear. Krishna's message is one, both for Arjuna and also for Dhritarashtra. Arjuna understands it in a proper way, whereas Dhritarashtra doesn't understand it in the proper way. So that is what is the irony of the whole thing. Now Sanjaya is replying. He is now narrating what all has happened, because here what he is saying is Duryodhana, he is the commander-in-chief. Not commander-in-chief, of course. Commander-in-chief for their army was Bhishma. Technically, he had appointed Bhishma as the commander-in-chief for the entire army. But Duryodhana is the king. The commander-in-chief was somebody else. So Duryodhana, he was reviewing the entire army, which was just lined up. There is a huge army formation. So how is this army formation? So he is just viewing that army formation. So Sanjaya says, Drushtva tu Pandavanikam Vyudham Duryodhanastada Acharyam Upasangamya Raja Vachanam Abravit. So he says, Drushtva tu Pandavanikam. He is first reviewing the Pandavas army. That is the enemy army. That is basically know the enemy. That is the basic principle. So Duryodhana is following that principle. And Duryodhana, first of all, is reviewing the entire Pandava army. Drushtva tu Pandavanikam. He sees that army. Vyudham means kept in a nice formation. Already on the other side, Drushtadhyumna, the son of Drupada, is the commander-in-chief for the Pandava army. So Drushtadhyumna had lined up the entire army in a nice way. Vyudham Duryodhanastada Acharyam Upasangamya. He approaches his guru. Acharya means Dronacharya. He is approaching Dronacharya. And Raja Vachanam Abravit. So Guru. Of course, here what we see is the commander-in-chief is Bhishma. Duryodhana is not going to Bhishma, but he is going to Drona. He is going to Dronacharya and he is going to say something. Let us see what he says. He says, Pashyaitam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamum Vyudham Drupadaputrena Tava Shishyena Dhimata. He says, Pasyayetam Panduputranam O Acharya. You look at this huge army. You look at this army which is lined up, Vyudham, nicely kept in a nice formation. And it is done by Drupada Putrena, by the son of Drupada. And who is he? Tava Shishyena. He is your student. He is your student. You have trained them all, and then your student is now up against you. And you fight them well. That is what is the message. The message is, Duryodhana has no doubt about the loyalty of Bhishma, because Bhishma is somebody who has sworn loyalty to the throne. Whoever is the king, he has sworn loyalty to the throne. And on the throne, Dhritarashtra is the king, and then he is loyal to him. Now, for Drona, the dearest disciple is Arjuna. And Drona has some soft corner, Krupacharya, Dronacharya, etc. They have some soft corner for the Pandavas. So naturally, Duryodhana, even if you see the other context, other places in Mahabharata, Duryodhana has his own suspicion on Dronacharya, Krupacharya. These people, they have got some sort of soft corner for them. So here, he is using a sort of sarcastic word. There is a tone of sarcasm, as we call it. The tone of sarcasm we see, Tava Shishyena Dhimata. This Dhiman is your own Shishya. And he says, Atra Shura Maheshwasaha Bhimarjuna Samayudhi. Of course, in this first chapter, there is not much to be explained, but still, because we are reading the Bhagavad Gita, let us have the pleasure of reading all the shlokas. I will just read out the shlokas. Atra Shura Maheshwasaha Bhimarjuna Samayudhi Yuyudhano Viratascha Drupadascha Maharathaha. He is naming all the Maharathis who are all there in the army. The Maharathi is one classification, because even in right now we also have some commandos. Suppose you see a commando team, there are certain ranks, top ranking commando, then second ranking commando, so something like that. So here also this Maharatha is a particular classification. That is, Maharatha was a person who could fight 10,000 people at a time. 10,000 archers he was able to fight at a time. So that is Maharatha. So here Duryodhana is reviewing the entire Pandava army. He is saying, oh, all these people are Maharathas. So we will continue tomorrow. Harihi Om Tat Sat.